it wasn't picking up my stuff, but now it is. Go ahead.
All
Should
right,
work
Austin,
now.
shut the fuck up. Goes
Yeah.
in, goes in.
Thank you for the affirmation. All right. So, last we left off, you all had returned to Pomona and had reported back to the legatus. The legatus was introduced to the individuals that you had either picked up along your previous mission or who had assisted you, Suggestion and Francesca. After a short vetting process, granted them essentially provisional warden status. Kirin group, now comprising the 7 of you, were chosen to be one of a handful of other warden groups to be essentially elevated in status to more important roles, more dangerous missions. Some of them selected by those high-ranking wardens, some of them original founders, but most of them, if not all, very strong adventurers, mages, soldiers, warriors, knights that had essentially founded the wardens and have been on the front lines since the beginning. Other groups were deemed to perhaps need a little bit more time under the wing of more experienced individuals. And that's the situation that Kirin group you all found yourself in, with Sunlar, the wildfire druid that you had seen once before at the end of Silver Lake, part of one of the prime groups that had come teleported in after you had done the work within the city to essentially quarantine the city, head up rescue missions, as well as purge it of all of the demonic spores that had taken root within the city, resulting in the evacuation and eventual razing of Silver Lake. You'd not met with him before? He seemed like a kind of eccentric fellow, exhibited distrust towards specifically Suggestion. This distrust for individuals that weren't in the Wardens or had no desire to be in the Wardens, presuming it seemed that there must have been ulterior motives to not pledging oneself to the Warden's cause. A few days, almost a week after that meeting with the legatus that you had been assigned, along with a couple other of the warden groups to be directly under Sunlar's supervision, he took all of you out of Pomona and you guys began to travel north. No exact destination was given to you, but you followed. Till one night, while your group was one designated to stand watch, he approached all of you. Expressing that while he respects the legatus and sees him as a smart, tactical mind, there were differences in our philosophies. You see, the legatus wishes to take those promising young wardens such as yourself and raise them up, put them in slowly growing curves of difficulty in the missions that he takes them on to allow you to grow, eventually culminating in, well, what Scorpion Group and some of the others accomplished, which was being sent to the Bloodlands. That's where the real battle is being fought. But I've seen many a battle-hardened adventurer, soldier, great minds of spellcasters wills broken by the mere presence of the Bloodlands. And so I have a little bit of a different take. I figure, why waste all that time training you all up if you're just gonna break in the end? So, now that you're with me, we're going to do things a little bit differently. Perhaps the choice is yours, of course. S- Who wants to go to the Bloodlands? Looks around at each of you. Slight hint of a smirk tugging at the corner of his lips.
This just got interesting. Get excited.
Hmm. So this is supposed to be some sort of test then. See if we're even worth your time.
You can't exactly train someone for what I've seen. What you are trying to see. Well, it's better than throwing you into the deep end without someone alongside you, I think. You see, I'm sure by now you've encountered your fair share of rifts. I know for a fact you have. You, at least in part of you, are the Silver Lake group. That was nasty business. Um, but unfortunately, all too commonplace. And all too tame in comparison to some other things. So you know exactly how those fiendish presences, the infernal, the abyssal, those alien spaces and minds and creatures and looking into the deep. I'm sure you've noticed something odd about that, maybe even a little bit more. And that's just looking into it. Up there, you're immersed in it. It's practically another world. So, yes, if you're going to break eventually, I'd rather know sooner rather than later, so I know whether or not you're worth the effort.
Is that really what it is? So you're
Oh,
wasting our
absolutely.
time as well.
I
Yes,
don't
we
know
can
how
go
you
into
see
the
it that way.
Bloodlands. Well, what's the objective? Because up until now, you haven't really had one, have you? You simply said we have to learn in the moment that there is no objection, but there is. We are not simply here to just fight. Yes, technically we are, but that isn't what solves the Bloodlands, is it? So what is it that we're here to do? Are we here to protect each other? Are we here to stop a rift? What is our goal in the Bloodlands? If you're here to test us, then fine, I suppose, but don't don't waste our
Whatever
time.
it is, I'm not wasting your time. Whatever our objective is, which certainly lots of it is fighting, and certainly that's been the majority of your contributions thus far. Regardless of whether it's fighting, whether it's protecting, whether it's closing rifts or gathering intelligence, all of it does happen, the important bits anyway, within the Bloodlands. And so if you're going to do any of it, showing the ability to even function in that space is necessary, wouldn't you agree? You can't exactly learn to swim without water. And so far, you've not been anywhere near one. Maybe a kiddie pool, maybe a small pond. But if you're going to do anything meaningful, you need to be in the deepest part of the ocean, with no land around. And you can't really train for that. You can't really practice for that.
I suppose not, but there are other things that I want to do outside of the Bloodlands, so I have to see this through. We all do. Unanimously as a team, yes.
I say the sooner the better.
You won't hear an objection out of me. Not foreseeing the Bloodlands.
Hold on. Are we actually considering this? I mean, I do want to help out as well, but what about the legatus? Isn't he going to find out eventually we did something else that was against his wishes?
Oh,
This is not
you're
against his
under
wishes.
my command.
We are under him. Sorry, sir.
You, your group, the others here, you no longer report to Pomona. We have different objectives. Same overall, of course, but what the legatus deals in and what me and my group deal in are completely separate things. What you had done up until this point with the legatus and whatever smaller warden camp you were part of before now was all essentially so that those at the front lines didn't need to be distracted by anything smaller going on. And it is a very important part because certainly the people of this land are worth protecting, and if the fiends were to get a foothold on our flank, that would not be good at all. But don't let it be misunderstood. That's all that anyone who's not on the front lines is doing, is protecting the flank, is staving off for as long as possible. This war will be won in the Bloodlands. There's no other way it can happen.
Of course. I I I understand. I understand now.
I'll agree to go. I mean, it's always been the goal to get to the root of the cause. So
Well, excellent then. No time like the present, I think. Follow me. He gets up, slings his bag over his shoulder, and walks towards a nearby tree line. He walks through, his fingertips grazing against the barks of small to large saplings as if appraising the various trees he's walking through, trying to find the right one.
While he, I guess, is looking to do that, Fred is gonna go up to suggestion and more of a whisper, or in a lower tone. I don't like what he said about you, but one does seem to wonder why you are here. I really doubt my speech really was it. Whatever the case may be, I look forward to see what else you can do in the Bloodlands as well, assuming that we're all going.
You can count on me being there for sure. And I will assist however possible. I mean, an honorary warden right now.
Whatever your reasons are, I've seen you in battle. It would be good to have you abroad, maybe on a long-term basis as well. That would depend on you and your goals.
No, I see no reason why I shouldn't.
Fred's gonna just nod in his direction and she'll look at Francesca for a moment. Her mouth opens to kind of say something, but she holds back and then she just kind of waits for the portal to open.
A spark of light catches your eye from the corner. Some of you have been watching and paying more attention to Sunlar. As you see him casting a spell, wisps of flame-like energy begins to wreath his body, and as the magic culminates near his fingertips, it manifests into the shape of a small butterfly that flies towards the trunk of a large tree. As it lands on it, the magic imbues into the tree itself, the orange reds of the flame-like energy propagating through the spaces in between the bark until the tree splits, and with a crackle of arcane energy, a portal opens, and he gestures to usher all of you through.
I'm going. Like, no hesitation.
Likewise.
But we'll
Um,
follow.
Ezekiel's going to kind of tug on Melody's sleeve just a little. Come on, it'll be fine.
Mia just turns her head towards Ezekiel and just does like a slight nod and advances alongside Ezekiel.
All right.
I'm
So-
going to walk in.
Everybody's going through.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I also want to look back at whoever's behind me and see their choices if they're coming along. I don't know who does that. Could it be Francesca, Bishop, and Suggestion?
I don't know.
Okay.
I assume everybody's going through. Nobody said otherwise.
I'd be
Yeah,
probably.
I would go.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You.
No, you.
Fine. I'm just following Persephone. As soon as she goes through, I'll go through.
Yeah, and I sit back a little bit just to make sure everybody, um, just to see everybody's resolve as they go through, and um, I would say out loud, there ain't nothing to worry. There ain't anything that we haven't been able to tackle together. There's gonna be more of that. We got this. And I would
Okay.
walk through.
So, as you all head through, the first of you to enter, you notice that the atmosphere instantly changes. The first thing that you notice is not necessarily the sight, but the smell. This scent and taste of iron in the air is tangible. It's palpable. It's thick. The night sky has transformed from calm, dark blues and blacks into a dark reddish haze. And as you step through the portal and the blinding light of the fiery portal that you had walked through fades and you blink your eyes back to focus, the first thing that you notice is a couple spears towards your face. But they're quickly lowered as Sunlar brings up the rear and walks through, and the warden guards notice it. You look around, and this tree is the only one around as far as you can see. You see the stumps of other trees shorn and cut off. This one tree is the only one, and it is under guard, it seems. In front of you, not too far, through this fog, this haze of reddish mist, you see you see the outlines of buildings, a small village or town. It looks pretty beat up, pretty worn down, and then beyond that, what looks like the night sky. As it is nighttime and you can see stars above you, but as you look further forward onto the horizon, the stars get dimmer and then brighter again. except they shine with a reddish hue and flicker in strange ways. On the horizon, the entire sky is lit up with these warbling, flickering stars. The ground around
Nice.
you is broken. Everything except for this one tree seems to have died. The guards lower their weapon, and Sunlar once again walks to the front and heads towards that town. Seemingly unfazed by the strong stench and taste of iron in the air.
This really is it, huh? Part of the Bloodlands. Where exactly? If we can't pinpoint where we are.
Hard to say. You know, you're at least north of places like Pax and your hometown, your home city, because that's where the line hasn't quite gotten there yet. But where exactly you are, it's hard to say. You've not been this far north. Are you keeping up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's never any hesitation. She's just following like a soldier does.
You head
Ezekiel's.
into the. Hmm?
Oh, I
What'd you
was
say?
just gonna say Ezekiel's like a little slack jawed, and it takes him a moment to move forward.
Okay.
Overwhelmed by everything he's taking in.
Who's proficient with perception?
I would be.
Yeah, same.
So,
All right. You two go ahead and
Oh,
make
no.
perception. Are you?
No, I thought I was, but it's persuasion. My bad.
Not for this one. Ezekiel,
the other
Bishop, go ahead and make perception checks.
Okay.
A natural 20.
Nice.
A natural one.
Nope.
Oof.
Ezekiel, you're too taken aback, and you though. Yeah, you no, you're a little shaky right now. But Bishop, as you kind of follow in step behind, the smell and taste of this iron and the red mist, it doesn't take long to put together that this red fog that hangs in the air and what you're smelling, what you're definitely blood. The mist and haze itself rising to give a reddish tint to the entirety of the sky. And as you head towards this small town that Sunlar is walking you towards, your eyes are drawn to the fading and pulsing nature of these stars in the distance. And as you see the sky littered with all of them and sort of taken aback, baffled by the behavior of these celestial bodies, you notice, you put together, these aren't stars that you're looking at in the distance, these are rifts.
Uh, I mean, I, I had an inkling it was what it was gonna be like, but when you're here, it's unexplainable. Um, I'm gonna speak a little more loudly so that I'm sorry, what was his name again? The elf?
Sunlar.
So that Sunlar hears me. Uh, that in the distance there, that those are rifts, right? I'm not crazy.
No, you are not. But you'll get a closer view once we get there.
So we're going straight to. Oh, all right. I guess it's trial by
Oh,
fire, indeed, huh?
Oh, well, you wanted to see the Bloodlands, did you not? No, we're still a couple hours away from the front lines. This is, well, um, this is just the place where we bring our injured, a little base of operations away from the front lines. And he walks into the town, and you notice the roads, uh, everything dirt roads. Some of the buildings seem to have been in disrepair, falling apart. The roads are stained with streaks of blood, and along the you can see, like, as you walk in, many of the buildings, if not all of them, have been either converted to storehouses for supplies or into makeshift infirmaries. As you enter the town, you're almost on guard for something, as these wails of pain and agony almost echo those that you had heard from within the, but they're coming from those who've fought. Other wardens, perhaps other volunteers. As you are walking through, eventually, if you would have taken care to try to avoid stepping in blood, it becomes impossible. You see bloodied handprints, streaks along the walls of buildings, and uh, individuals hurrying wounded into these makeshift infirmaries, others both wounded and unwounded alike, some walking around zombie like. Occasionally, someone will just eating rations or a bit of water, but there's a large variance in the energy levels of the people that inhabit this place. As you're walking through, you notice someone a bit of the way ahead. They're sitting in front of one of the on the curb of the road. Their elbows draped over their legs as they sit, staring ahead of them at the ground. Some of you in Kieran Group recognize them as the half-elf from Scorpion Group. Last you saw him about 5 or 6 days ago.
Question out of
Yes.
character. So wait, it's been days since the original group left, like the initial groups from when
Yeah,
we
he
got
like
here?
yeah, the guy was like walking us through the woods for like days,
Yeah,
seemingly
you were walking for a few days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
completely forgot about that part. You're right. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you.
And
yeah,
he like insta
move
teleported them, I
around.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they've
yeah,
been
I
there.
remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Uh, I guess if Fred would obviously recognize them, she would, I guess, go up to them and
Takes a moment.
where is
He's
I would too.
where's the rest of your team? Are you all right?
takes a while. You see he's heavily bandaged. But more or less okay. Takes a while for him to register voice, but eventually looks up at you, and as he does, you see a little bit of vacancy behind the eyes, as if he doesn't quite recognize you. And when he does, it's like seeing someone from long ago, like another life almost. It's I'm I'm the only one left. It's just me. The only one left. The, the only left. And his eyes
I'll
dart around, glances down, and you can see he's muttering under, like non-verbally, you can see his lips moving, repeating that phrase to himself.
Fred will, in an attempt to kind of ground, maybe place her hand over his or clasp her hands together with, holding him and just kind of like squeeze. Like you're alive, you're well, you're here. It's okay. Just take a deep breath.
And I would just clench my fist, grit my teeth, and just look down and look away for a moment, just trying to steel myself, because I understand that pain too, and trying to find some words that can hopefully comfort him, but I can't think of any words.
You can feel his hand trembling between yours, Frederica.
Fred, for a moment, will kind of dig into her satchel, and then pluck out like a wildflower, and then clasps her hands again and squeezes his hand. Like, I know it's bad, or maybe I don't, but you still have to hold on. You're okay. You'll be okay. Don't forget.
He opens his hand after you let him go and just palming that wildflower and staring down at it. And see his muscles tense a bit, but he doesn't respond. Seems like he's in some sort of shock, disbelief. It's a very different guy than the one that you had parted ways with less than a week ago, than the one that gave you guys shit back in Twin Hills.
Almost. Ezekiel just like he's still overloaded, taking everything in. Even harder to grasp now. Um, he just can't take his eyes off of the last member of it was Scorpion, right?
Yeah.
Um, just like a ball in his throat.
Melody's just gonna look at Ezekiel and look back at Fred and the last scorpion member. She's just gonna quiver her lips a bit and clasp her like hands with her mouth together, like trying to want to say something, but she just can't get the words out.
I'll finally look at him directly, and I'll just put my hand on his shoulder again, and I'll say, "You'll get through this. It's gonna be okay. I know it doesn't seem like it now, but you'll get through this. And we're gonna be here if you need us."
He goes between like subtle head motions of nodding and understanding of the words you say, but also shaking his head as if to refute the validity of your words. and the truth behind them. He looks down the road
Wait a moment.
and swallows hard. You can see further down the road, there's almost equal parts of this hustle of injured individuals being rushed into buildings, as well as what seems like the deceased being removed from these infirmaries to make room for them. There are used to be members of people of faith that are clutching holy symbols and praying over the dead. Others are removing what seems to be any sort of not all articles of clothing, but things that could be used to identify people, such as jewelry or anything specific like that. And oddly enough, you see them wrapping their faces with strips of cloth completely, as if to hide their features, hide their faces, as they lane out along the street. If you're watching, you can see that some are laid down in a row along the side of the road. Others are put into a cart. And there's a couple people that are talking about it. You can see their gowns, their clothes stained, dirtied, saturated with the blood of the injured and fallen, as they seem to be delegating or deciding which go where, which ones go into the cart, and which ones end up being laid on the road and having their faces wrapped. Sunlar, watching Frederica and Bishop interact with the member of Scorpion Group. Once you guys finish up, his eyes sweep over everybody's real quick. We have a couple hours ahead of us. Do you want to keep going?
Yeah, I do at least.
I certainly do not require rest. I am good to continue.
Ezekiel will give a weak nod.
Suggestion wants to use detect thoughts
On who?
on the sole member of this group.
All right.
Kind of while he does that, he'll look to Persephone and say, "You look like you had something to say." And he's probing deeper.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my fault because I have.
Oh,
Wait a second.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
I tried to rectify it, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. from when we were playing earlier. I didn't fix that. That's
Mm.
my fault. All right, so she just came up to tell me that because it's absolutely that is
Oh,
yeah.
did you have like your
Because
like
we
muted
yeah.
because you were like using like some sort of in-game audio or something?
No, we were playing together, but we were sitting like right next to each other, and we both were
Oh,
talking to Duen.
I see.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. All right. So whenever you're back, Nimue, I'm very sorry.
All good. I don't know. What's...
Make him sleep in the backyard. How cold is it? 24 degrees? Yeah, let him sleep in the backyard.
Thank you.
He'll be
Sheesh.
fine.
Ying.
Give him a blanket.
Give him a blanket.
Yeah.
How kind.
So continue. I'm not sure if she caught what you had said, suggestion, because she was coming up here to tell me.
I told her it sounded like she had something to say.
No, nothing that wouldn't come off as empty words.
All right. So, surface thoughts suggestion as you detect thoughts on this man. I'm the only one left. It's just me. I'm the only one left. It's just me. I'm the only one left. It's just me. Over and over again.
All right, now deeper.
Okay.
Wisdom save.
Wisdom save. I'm not sure he's great at that in this state.
Quite wise right now.
Not quite wise right now. But maybe. What if he rolls a natural 20? Something else is.
Right? What a beast.
Yeah.
14.
Hell no.
No? All right. So
What
you
if he
Did
probe
you
deeper
use-
beyond these repetitive thoughts and. Suggestion. Can you make a wisdom save for me, please?
Fuck.
You got hit with
I'm good
that
at those.
elvish fuckery feat, you know what I'm saying? Trait.
Right? Wait, is that an elvish thing?
I mean, no, sorry. Gnome? Gnomish? I'm just making stuff up.
I'm just making shit up.
You activated my trap card.
That's what he did to me.
Yeah.
Summon three hostile
Feel lucky.
Lucky.
Woo!
Hell yeah.
All right.
That's so
So
lucky.
as
What the
you
fuck?
probe deeper beyond the repetitive, I'm the only one left. It's just me. And you probe deeper, and it's just that all the way down. Nothing else beyond that. And it's almost drags you in. You feel it like sucking you into that. Your thoughts begin to echo his thoughts until you're able to wrench yourself out and end this.
Jeez.
Damn.
I'm not sure if I believe you, Bishop. Empty words based off of how he is.
Well, it's something I've gone through myself, and there really isn't any right words to say. It just hoping that something would get through to him. Took me a long time before my head was right.
So just speaking from experience,
Yeah,
you've been to the Bloodlands.
not exactly, but I know what it's like to lose my crew.
Hmm.
I was in the military before this, and my platoon faced a similar fate. I was the only one left.
Well, there's a stark difference between the two of you. Though clearly you are made of different things.
I think the difference between me and him is just time.
And then suppose that's the only thing that'll tell.
Yeah.
Well, we have to keep on moving. Still
These
nowhere near the Bloodlands.
Like we're a few hours out from
Yeah.
the real stuff.
As you are walking by, what's up?
I suppose while they were having their conversation, I would have Fred approach Ezekiel. Clearly seeing him in distress, she puts a hand on his shoulder and gives him a squeeze. I know you're scared right now, but we'll be okay. And anything that comes at you has a reason to be afraid of me. Be confident in your abilities.
Of course. It's not a lack of confidence I feel. I mean, look at the state of everything. Imagine what this place had looked like. The, the people that were here, gone.
I
I
know.
mean, it's hard to. It's hard to even think that this is still not too far away from where we were. This is horrible.
A man dressed in dark robes with his face shrouded, covered, walks up to two of the individuals that were delegating and moving the corpses of the fallen. You see him speaking with them. Soonlar at this time is passing by that point. Some of you are stood back, some of you are following closer behind.
But you're right. I don't plan on not pushing forward. It's just I I can't imagine what's even a couple hours ahead. Feel sick.
Francesca, as you were the one closest, just following in step behind Soonlar, you overheard a bit of the conversation between this dark uh, cloaked man and the ones that are in the bloodstained robes. Man
That's
says,
great because I was
"Hmm?
gonna say I want to eavesdrop on them, so
Yes."
very convenient.
Says he walks up and just simply says, I need 9. Then one of them nods and, all right. And they mark something down on a bit of parchment that they have and just give a nod, and the man walks away.
Like towards what? Like towards bodies, towards like the buildings. Where's he going?
He walks past them into the infirmary that they are standing in front of.
Okay.
As you're walking by, you hear one of the you hear this holy man, seemingly uh, elvish, at least in part, praying over the bodies of the deceased as their faces wrapped by the multiple times, obscuring any features that might be able to allow one to see who they once were.
Am I like I'm close to Sildar. I guess that's really more my decision. I haven't really
Yeah.
slowed down. I'm gonna kind of like talk to his back in hopes that he'll answer me and go, "What kind of tradition is that? The covering of the faces, or do they just find death unattractive?"
Huh. Astute of you. It's something that we started out of necessity. You see, it's a question that, well, maybe not you particularly. I'm not exactly sure how that would work with you, but at least the others, a question that they'll have to ask, or a question they'll have to answer. As I'm sure you've noticed, death is not something that is unfamiliar to any of us, living or fortunately moved on. We
You
give the
choose
option to
whether.
our wardens whether or not, in the event that they fall, should they allow themselves to be used to continue the effort, let's say. And, well, it's just a bit unsettling to see one that you might recognize.
Oh, what a pleasant surprise. Okay. I see. Uh, well, I would like to see you attempt with me if there is an offer on the table.
Hmm.
I do think that it might have already been attempted once, though, so maybe it will not work very well.
Well, I mean, if you're saying what I think, and I'm pretty sure I know at least somewhat the nature of you, at least well, what the legators have told me, you might be a little bit more complex than what is going on here. So maybe, maybe not. But that's an entirely different purpose as to why we're here, isn't it?
Yes, have any of these ever gone wrong? So, like per
Oh,
se, if someone maybe remembered being a soldier, like maybe a warden, and
no, that is not the case with this. By the time that any of this would have happened, they wouldn't quite be in your position. Their souls would have
mm,
long since found rest or moved on. It's just another tool, another weapon to use against the fiends.
I see. She'll kind of narrow her eyes at that comment and just then
At
carry
least
on
I
walking.
hope. I can't say. I've never been. At least I hope not. Dancing continues.
Hmm.
The rest of you are a few paces behind. Continue on, some of you catching up. Ezekiel, you are still a bit shaken, a bit distracted by everything. But as you're walking by with, I guess, alongside Fred, sort of selective hearing, you overhear part of basically a well known prayer that you are very familiar with.
This kind of familiar sound.
It's one that you learned.
Starts from that.
It's a burial rite. You hear it because it's being spoken by the elvish man that is praying over the deceased bodies.
Um, I'll look over into his direction. Um, and kind of like I'll point my head down, and for the first time in a little bit, Ezekiel's going to steel himself. Um, kind of remembering his purpose, bringing him back to what he was taught and his um, his faith. To stop that is what I am fighting for. I would like to start moving a bit quicker. Try to get to the rest of the group because I imagine I'm hanging by a little bit.
Okay. So, you guys continue through the town. Wardens coming, wardens going. Many of them, if they're not too wounded to fight, are making their way back in your direction as well. You can see carts being carried and lugged, the grooves from the wheels of the carts dug into the ground on the path towards extending out of the town. The ground, the further you get away from here, especially along the road, is saturated with blood. The grooves dug into the ground, wheels acting as little channels that fill with liquid. You see barrels of water being carted off. Again, Ezekiel, you would recognize the act of the little bits of iron and silver being sprinkled into these waters and prayers being chanted over them. Like it's being made blessed into holy water on the way to front lines. All the while, your senses accosted by the stench and taste of iron and blood that you've not quite gotten used to yet. The sound of others passing you, shouting both, shouting instructions to staunch wounds and stop bleeding, and encouragement and to those that are currently wild-eyed and bleeding out to hold on as they're being rushed on carts, on makeshift like sleds, basically dragged by ropes and even carried by hand or slung over the back of horses and other beasts. Sunlar's face is steadfast and seems like he's used to this. He stops a while and pulls out a water skin. About 30-45 minutes in, you guys are accosted by the overwhelming amount of sensory input from the smells, the taste, the sounds of screaming, pain, agony, death, but as well as defiance from those trying to keep up the will of the dying to fight, to hang in there. It's not all hopeless, it's not all helpless, but it is desperate by the looks of it, by the sounds of it, by the smells of it. He takes out his water skin and might be difficult, but to try to stay hydrated. He takes a swig and continues on.
I'd probably go and check on Melody, see how she's doing. Hey, Melody, how you holding up? I know it's a lot going on here. How you feeling?
Melody's just looking down, all like spacing out, and just looks up at Bishop and um um uh oh, no, I'm I'm hanging in there. How are you?
About as good as you can be being in this type of place. Not great, but hoping that whatever this ends up being, we get to make a real difference. Want to know
Uh,
that? Uh, Go ahead.
oh no, nothing, nothing.
No, no, it's fine. Go ahead.
It's nothing. I promise.
Right then, I just want to make sure that you realize that the closer we get, it can be real dangerous. So don't go trying being a hero, right? We need you, the back line. Zeke, your magic is really powerful and important, and I just don't want you to go throwing it away because it looks like we're in trouble or something. You know, make the smart decisions. That's what I'm saying. We're all counting on you.
Melody's just gonna kind of like ball her fist, like clench her fist a bit hard. I appreciate your concern, Bishop. And yeah, I'll do my best. But just between us, I can't really do that, right? If I just can't help. If you get hurt, Bishop, I'm going to be there. Whether or not it's risking my life. I just want to see you get through this, so I won't allow you to be hurt. Just want you to know that.
Yeah, I figured you'd say something like that. I was trying to preemptively tell you to not do that if you can help it. Um,
Which I can. She smiles softly at him.
all right, just
We'll do our best to survive, right?
yeah, just know that I'm built to take somewhat of a beating. So you're not. So better that you stay safe so you can keep us safe, right?
I hear you, Bishop.
All
Took
right.
me. I do. I just no promises.
Um,
But don't worry about me. I'll be fine, okay? Just as long as you're fine and you keep the others fine. I promise I won't do anything dumb if that's what you're worried about.
yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to know. Want to make sure you have your head on straight, and I'll just try to look for Ezekiel. I'm guessing he's nearby. They've been
Mm-hmm.
somewhat together, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. You're all well enough within. You can walk up to them. Yeah.
Okay. Hey Zeke, make sure you keep an eye on her for me.
Of course.
And you doing okay? You seem worse off than her.
For a bit, for sure. Um, but I'm not fine, but I'm focused. Um, I'm more in it now. Sorry, I didn't mean to worry anyone. It's just this place is.
I know. It's getting harder. Keep going as we get closer, but we'll get through this. I'll look back at both of them, both Ezekiel and Melody, and I'll just try to smile and continue to reassure them. And um, after that, I'll just keep moving forward. You know, kind of just follow along.
All right. So, how many of you have looked into a rift before?
I wouldn't exactly remember if I had, so perhaps.
I can't
I
say that I have.
well, I don't know. There's something haunting about it. I try not to look for too long.
Looks to the rest of you. Frederica, Persephone, Bishop, Melody.
Well, not exactly in a rift. I mean, I can hardly reach it myself. It's usually up so high. No, but I've been affected by one, I think. Probably. I mean, I know.
We we've been pretty close. I'm not sure how it affected people, but I guess the closest we've gotten to see through it or feel over its power or whatever that is. It's it's been Silver Lake and
It's
also oh
absolutely something that will drive you to madness. Or at least attempt to. It's
then
something that, well, you'll have to get used to. There's no looking away from what you're immersed in. And if you're going to be in the Bloodlands, well, you can't get more immersed than that.
definitely the
So,
Dominion. That's about as close as we got to that type of madness.
Don't suppose you were close enough to the one in Silver Lake to hear a calling from it.
oh, I don't know if I was near that one in particular. I don't think I was part of. I don't think so. No. But I've heard many whispers, many screams, and everything in between. You're not going to get through this with all of your sanity. It's a matter of hanging on to just enough to keep doing what needs to be done, to see it through to the end, regardless of how mad it might make you.
And no gods in sight. Look at that. Let me ask you something, actually. Any divine intervention?
It depends on what you see as divine intervention, I suppose. You said there are no gods in sight, but surely you're aware that gods exist all over the spectrum of morality, of good, of evil, of order and chaos. And no, I can't say I've seen any gods that are part of any of those bases, though I've seen them. Certainly. They're gods of chaos, gods of evil, sending their minions for, just as those that devote themselves to the good and the lawful, well, I sort of see them as ones that have been sent at least to do their bidding. All gods play their games,
Right,
have their
but
agendas.
not directly.
No, but I can't
Through
say
the
I've
works of
seen.
others.
I can't say I've seen any of the gods that inhabit the abyss or the hells involved directly either.
And thank all the gods for that.
Absolutely. Hmm. Though, the way things are escalating, there's a reason for that, of course. Hopefully, well, we put a stop to these rifts before they get strong enough, before they become capable enough to usher in such powers. At that point, well, I don't think there'd be any hope left. So, better hurry up and put a stop to this, huh? Hmm. Easier said than done.
You're saying there's the potential these rifts reach a certain level that odd like beings can walk through them.
It's that I'm not entirely sure of. What I have noticed is, well, what we have noticed is they've certainly been evolving. And we've all but lost sight of the ones that started all of this, who've been pushed back so far. In fact, it's one of these rifts that's growing, evolving, sort of, which is what I hope to what I hope to find once we get there. You know, I didn't want to just take you all on a little tour of the Bloodlands. Wanted to get some work done, of course. My time is quite precious.
Well,
Evolving in what manner? Or are we there to find out?
Well, there have been. I'm not sure if you've encountered it, but rifts can grow in strength. It's not something that we had always known. And we thought that once a rift had been born, it was at whatever strength it was going to be for its duration, like crafting a door, right? If you made a door, it's not usually something that can grow or shrink in size. It just is what it is for its purpose. But we've learned that that's not exactly the case. It's something that we call nexus rifts, ones that can evolve, that can grow stronger. They absorb power from other rifts nearby until they gain the capability to usher in fiends of immense strength and power.
um,
Rifts that we've not yet f- developed the ability to close. Every single time that the Asmodeus line has been pushed back, well, every time that a Nexus Rift has emerged, the line gets pushed back. We've no line, no bastion, no front that we've put forth has survived the emergence of a Nexus Rift.
with that sort of explanation, I was gonna ask if potentially Silver Lake was one of them, but
Oh,
definitely
not at
doesn't seem
all.
like it. That's hmm.
From what we've seen, and it has to start off as a fairly powerful rift in itself, and it also needs others around it at least to draw in power from. And that
So, we've
power.
seen
Hmm?
one. The beginning of one. We closed it. In the Dominion.
Yeah.
That must have been what they were doing. They were sacrificing people to it, though. Their people, our people, any people.
Hmm.
They were opening a great number of rifts, small ones, but rifts nonetheless.
I wouldn't know. If you stopped the emergence of a Nexus Rift in the Dominion, well, if that is the case, you stopped the epicenter of a second front from opening up, basically.
And
As
we
I
were
said,
thoroughly punished for it.
I don't know anything about that, he says, shrugging.
Well,
That's fair. Politics.
we do. We know a great bit.
Punished.
Uh,
If it were up to me, you would have been rewarded. Or, if anything, if it were up to me, you would have been out here sooner. If that's what you are capable of.
Well, we didn't know what it was at the time. It was very curious. There was a gigantic rift, and then there were like 2 or 3 smaller ones. I'm not sure. Azul was closing them, the smaller ones, and we had quite a time getting the large one closed. It was enormous. It's the biggest one I've ever seen.
and this
Yeah.
winged demoness was trying to almost get us to not close it for some reason.
Winged demon. Well, that certainly narrows it down.
It
I
does.
believe it was the devil.
No, not at all, actually.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
What did you say, Persephone?
Oh, I believe it was a devil, not a demon. She was winged and, very articulate. The
Hmm,
demons tend to be just sort of carnage, in my
Oh,
yes.
experience.
And unfortunately, it is that intelligence of the makes them so dangerous. We figured out more or less who we're up against, as far at least what we're up against when it comes to the demons, but still have yet to figure out the machinations or the identities of those pulling the strings on the infernal side of things. The demons, however, are a bit less subtle in their approach.
Yeah, it always seemed like there's some sort of scheme they're up to. The way they talk, the way they try to offer
It's a delicate balance
you some sort of
of the
alliance.
demons. Oh,
Hmm.
contract. Wouldn't You wouldn't be the first to have encountered or been propositioned by devils. I mean, it's to be expected with such proximity to them here. We've been. It's something we've had to be vigilant on. It's something that we've had to combat as well. You don't know what a desperate man will do, what deals they'll accept, what bargains they'll make, what might sound good to those who feel like they have nothing left to lose. And unfortunately, that is all too common over the course of this war.
As he speaks, Fred is glancing or looking over at Persephone. Regarding the Nexus, you mentioned that there were smaller voids around it. If we were to close those, would it weaken the Nexus void? Or do we just go straight for that?
No, we've found that that's in fact a losing effort. Rifts open, the smaller ones anyway. They open much faster than we could ever hope. So the way to stave back the horde, to hold back the war as long as we can, has been to deal with those coming out to the smaller rift by more conventional means. Um, Arrows, swords, magic. Sure, you're familiar. And looking out and being aware of when a rift may evolve and show signs of becoming a Nexus Rift and closing those down. As I said, any time that one has evolved, the front has not survived it. And so that is what we do. We hold the line. As others elsewhere, we learn as much as we can. Right now, the objective is to find a way to develop the magic, the means to close a Nexus Rift. And once we do that, maybe we can start actually taking some of our land back.
All the Nexus rifts, all opened by devils?
No. They, as far as we can tell, we cannot understand what causes a rift to evolve. It seems to, as I say, draw on the energy of smaller rifts, but what sparks that evolution, that metamorphosis, is still beyond us. At this point, you all are continuing closer on. The haze of the blood mist in the air even starts to sting at your eyes a bit. You notice the lighter colors of your clothing and garments beginning to get stained with pinkish hues. The warbling red stars more prominent, littering the skies alongside the littering the skies, and their infernal and abyssal lights masking and blocking out the light of the natural stars. Those rifts numbering in the hundreds, if not thousands or more, just from what you can see. As you get closer, you can see a number of watchtowers erected and raised. You can see a number of tents that seem to be hastily put up. It does not seem like this station, this part of the front line, which you can see these tents and watchtowers scattered for miles in either direction, but none of them seem like they are set up to establish any sort of permanent bastion. The sound of siege weaponry adds to the other sounds that you have been hearing all along. You can see giant rocks being hurled through the distance, though you're still fairly far away. Shouldn't be long now. Here we are. Let's take a look up here real quick. Should give you a good vantage, he says, pointing up ahead, maybe about 150 feet ahead. You can see looks like a derelict watchtower, about 40 feet tall, with a ladder leading up to the area, the surveillance area. If anyone's interested in getting their first glimpse of the Bloodlands, seems as good a place as any.
A scenic view. Sure.
All right. So, suggestion is the first begins to climb the ladder. Anyone else?
I'd follow.
Me too.
Don't be shy now.
I'd wait for everyone else to go first, but I'd go
All
up.
right. Sunlar waits at the base as it's a little bit crowded by the time you guys get up there. Standing up in the watchtower, you can see the multiple tents below. Ahead of that is a line of soldiers, it looks like. Wardens, other individuals standing behind a line of siege weapons that are being operated. And again, this line extends as far as you can see in either direction, lobbing, hurling stones, boulders out into the Bloodlands. Right in front of the siege weaponry, maybe about 50, 60 feet ahead, is a scar that cuts across the line. Like a barrier, a trench. Looks to be about 40 feet wide, and it's neatly cut out. Like perfect cubes in the line. This, it seems to be dug or excavated via magical means. What you initially see as what looks like the ground itself bubbling and writhing, you notice is waves and waves of demons basically charging into this cavern, into not the cavern, but into this trench that had been dug. Wardens with magic or arrows or whatever they can get their hands on, spears, pikes, stabbing at them and keeping them back as the trench begins to fill with the corpses and bodies of these demons. Beyond it, you can see roiling, angry, dark clouds that cover the sky, rifts that are, some of them as close as maybe 500 feet from the front line. Out in the distance, it looks like an uneven rain falling over the Bloodlands. The more you look, the more your mind and head begins to swim. Then you notice that those angry clouds aren't clouds, they're not smoke, they're not mist, but instead hordes of winged fiends from either side clashing into each other, and the rain, not rain, but the bodies of the slain devils and demons doing battle falling from the air on the Bloodlands below. Can everyone make a wisdom saving throw for me, please?
Ooh.
You bait us up
You're
here.
all within 10 feet of me, so add +5.
Oh.
Wait, everybody up top or everybody period?
Everyone, period.
I,
Oh, you're not up
yeah,
there, Bishop?
I don't know if we were all
yeah.
up there or not. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
If
did you
you're not
want to
up there,
be?
Uh, oh, kind of felt like there was enough people on that derelict tower collapse.
Sure. You didn't
Um,
have to see it if you want.
yeah.
That is an 18 from me.
But I guess.
Did you say +5?
Yep.
I
I'm just
did.
kidding.
You know what? I'm just gonna go up there. I wanna
That's
roll
crazy.
dice.
This is wisdom?
Yes, please.
I wanna roll
Yes.
dice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, did she say +5? What?
I
Mhm.
did. I
Yes.
did say 5.
Wait, did you say +5?
What did you say?
Stop!
+5?
No.
Easy.
Well, that would make it a 27 to 28 total then.
Oh my god, man.
I'm
Ooh,
wise.
unnatural 20. Oh, actually, so +5, that's 25. Oh my gosh. Wow, I'm so wise.
Bull.
Right, still waiting on Ezekiel and Persephone.
Oh, I have a
Crazy.
18.
Yeah,
What?
Ezekiel.
I have a 18. It was,
18? Okay.
22 total.
All right. So, let's see. I'll start with Francesca. Gazing out,
The war flashbacks.
essentially, yes.
Mhm.
That same dream that you had replays in your head. More vivid, more visceral, more real. And something new, something in addition, something that you haven't felt in a while, but something that you might have contemplated before. Up until this point, after your awakening, everything that you've done, interacted with, has been sort of a ghost of what you may have known before. You can still feel, but it's not the same. It's all been muted, diluted. Not the same sensation as somebody touching skin when they would touch your armor, or the armor that has become your body. But this time, when you remember, when the memories flood back, not only now are you able to hear the words, hear the sounds, but you feel every bit of those last moments. In a similar vein, suggestion, as you are gazing out there, you almost like a daydream, but completely spacing out of reality. You feel a blow to the back of your head. You feel like you're being pierced through the abdomen, chest by sharp, searing daggers. A torturous experience. Let's see, who else? Persephone, what was your roll again? Was it above 20?
Was it 22?
All right.
Ezekiel got an 18.
Yes.
Gonna say it.
no,
Get that
don't
guy.
rat me out.
Yeah.
Get that
Yeah,
guy.
get
Yeah,
him.
get him.
Teacher, do we have homework today?
Yeah, bitch.
I
Yeah, we
remembered.
do.
I remembered. I remember. Many of you look out and you just see the chaos, the horrors, the absolute carnage of the Bloodlands, the entirety of what might have once been farmland. You can even see the remnants of old farmsteads and buildings, towns that have been absolutely demolished, wiped out, laid waste to. Rivers of molten iron and blood course and crack through the now desolate land. You can see piles of bones and corpses from the demons, devils, and you're sure of mortals that have fought and died, making grisly hills throughout the Bloodlands. But you can't wrap your head around it. It's chaos, it's madness, it's almost overwhelming. Ezekiel, Frederica, imagine for a moment. Your minds, they stretch beyond their mortal bounds. You feel your consciousness, your sanity, your sentience unraveling into the twisted lattice of the abyss and the hells. You don't just see this horrendous battlefield as the others do. You become it. Your thoughts and consciousness threading through the designed architecture of the devils and the madness of the demons. You understand with perfect clarity the value of a soul in infernal currency, the devouring hunger, the need of the demons. You see before you this infinite war not as chaos, but as design. You comprehend and understand the whispered truths of infernal and abyssal alike, the terrible harmony of their suffering and ambition. And for a moment, you're part of it. It makes sense. It is right. And in the next moment, it's gone. Your mind's once expanded to the yawning chasm of the nature collapses back into your fragile mortal limits. That knowledge wrenched away, but the awareness of what you've lost is not. You're left grasping at the edges of something too vast, too terrible, too true. But all that remains is the hollow ache of incomprehension. You remember the shape of the thoughts, but not their meaning, like trying to recall a language you never spoke. Every contract, every meaning, every building block in the design of this chaos, just beyond your reach. Teasing, laughing. You're left more or less just as you were.
Francesca will kind of like touch a hand to that repaired spot in the chest plate, like remembering the ache of that blow.
Fred felt she couldn't quite put a feeling to it. She felt pretty disgusted in a moment. Almost like remembering a dream, she kind of just winced and averted her gaze to look out, focusing on her feet.
Much of the same for Ezekiel. Just kind of uh,
Bishop.
this
Oh,
wave of
sorry.
um, almost. It's like if you ever got trash juice on yourself, like it's your skin feels wrong.
Bishop, Melody, Persephone, you gaze out there and these reactions, as all of you had been absorbing the Bloodlands, feeling uneasy to that, and definitely feeling that presence, the looking into the madness, the chaos, the war, the all of this, the horrors. Before you could really formulate too much of an opinion on what you're seeing beyond the initial reaction, maybe about 2 or 3 seconds after you had been looking out, they have these reactions.
Um, Wait, so we're looking at it we're not reacting, but then we're seeing everybody else like
Yeah, you guys get up there and you all gazed out. Maybe even by the time you got up to the top, Bishop, everyone would have already been having these reactions. You
what's
all right up there?
hey guys, what's going on?
Sure. Shah will like clench his chest for a moment, trying to smile as wide he can.
Something
Uh,
funny.
Coping mechanism. Um. mm, Ironic, I guess. Just need a moment.
I don't look too
As
good.
soon as, or as soon as like any voice like breaks the silence, Francesca will kind of like snap out of it and like drop her arm as if like trying to hide any sign of feeling, and she'll just turn and go back down without a word. She'll kind of like shoulder past Bishop.
Um, oh, oh, I'll be confused as she brushes by me, and I'll just turn to Persephone. It's like, hey, something's wrong with them, right? That's not normal.
Well, I mean, have you looked at it? It's not normal out there, but I don't know exactly. Suggestion was smiling, and I don't know what Francesca was doing. I just thought maybe they were grabbing their chests. I don't know.
Well, if we're done sightseeing, then maybe we should continue forward. It's rough looking out, anyways. And then Fred's gonna down the ladder.
Maybe we shouldn't stare for too long. I mean, uh, doesn't seem like I don't want to happen. I don't want whatever happened to them to happen to me.
There has to be a way. I mean, can't all be. There's definitely a way to solve this. I know there has to be. Just haven't thought of it yet.
Well, if it's any of us that's gonna figure it out, it's you.
Persephone continues, like, staring out at the chaos and contemplating it all.
The last to descend down the ladder, Persephone. Hmm?
Oh no, I was clearing my throat. Sorry.
As you all back down. Well, you all made it back down. It's more than some could say. And their first glimpse of um, all of that.
I think some sort of a horizon would inhibit us.
Oh no, but if you couldn't stand the mere sight of it, I'm not exactly going to ask you to walk into it. That's just a glimpse. Those that dedicated their lives to this place, they live it every minute of every day. If they're lucky, that is. This place, with its rips and distortions in space, it, well, inadvertently distorts time itself. The Bloodlands and the surrounding area, this place, it's no longer become a land of days or weeks. It's a land of hours. Minutes and seconds.
It's almost funny in its absurdity.
It's good to have a sense of humor about these things, I think, anyway. You try to cling too hard to sanity and try to stave it off too much. Those are the ones that I feel are most prone to succumbing. You can't exactly beat back the chaos, beat back the madness without having a little bit of it yourself. So that's good. Maybe you can become trusted after all. In some capacity,
He'll
anyway.
he'll bow politely. I do hope to earn your trust.
I doubt that. Anyways, shall we continue? As I said, I made the trip out here. I'm not one to waste my time. This land is one where time is the most precious commodity. Going to see if there's anything that I can do while I'm here. You're free to join if you want. If not, make your way back and wait.
You can't expect me, at the very least, to turn back after all this.
Yes, sir. Where do you expect me to wait, knowing there is such excitement out here?
Will have to show me how you get clean. I don't imagine parlor tricks will be able to remove this blood.
He gives a little bit of a grin, the wild hair, and as he looks to the rest of you, giving you all the option. This is by no means, let me be clear, this is not an order. You have no obligation, as wardens at least. As the legatus, as far as the legatus knows, you're not here. He would never want such a thing for you, I'm sure. This is all your choice. Out here on the front lines, that's all it is. Nobody can force another man to stand in the way of what's out there.
Well, not while they're alive, according to you.
Even so, that is a choice too.
I mean, how could anyone choose to turn a blind eye to this? It's not. Especially as a warden, that's silly. Ridiculous, even. You're right. If we're not ready to face it and come with you, there's no point in continuing.
Um, Bishop will look sharply at I'll get his name, I promise.
Soonlar.
And almost like he's ready for war, right? That's like kind of like almost like there's a even like a tinge of bloodlust in his eyes because he kind of understands what's at stake. Um, this is what we're meant to do. I ain't going back.
Persephone, do you think Omega ever made it this far? Even farther?
I mean, they were further in, weren't they? The earlier teams? This is pushed back.
A lot more than I expected. But if farther is where we have to go, then I go with you. We keep pushing.
And you're all in agreement then. Looking to everybody else. Yes, Ezekiel, Melody.
And it certainly seems so. Um, and I assure you, this is not out of a herd mentality on my part. I I came too far to not keep going.
He's right. I'm ready.
You see, everyone is quick to draw lines, to draw distinctions between the fiends, between demons, between devils, between us and them. In fact, between
Don't put
sanity
words in
and
my mouth.
madness. Between the sanity and madness, and I'm glad to see that, well, you all possess that special sort of madness that we mortals call courage. Let's be on our way then.
You know, fear can be a superpower.
Hmm. Gives you a chuckle, a smile. If you know how to use it, like I said, if you try to too hard to resist every little bit that this madness that the Bloodlands, that the fiends push into you, you'll end up breaking. You need to be able to bend a bit. He takes another swig of his water and continues on his way towards Hence. It seems like he knows. You see some individuals sitting around behind the lines. They look weary, exhausted, picking at small bits of rations and choking down some water that from their water skins. All of them dirty, sweaty, muddy, bloody. Some of them looking more dejected than others, others seemingly more steadfast in their purpose. All the while, the sound of the siege weaponries, catapults, and trebuchets, the sound of their mechanisms echoing out has sort of background white noise to you. He walks into this tented area. It's more of a covered area. It's not like a tent that's open up and stakes in the ground with the tarp to give it some covering. Where you can see similarly dirty, muddied, tired individuals, but that are discussing and updating what looks like a hastily drawn and scrawled, at least map or diagram of the current Bloodlands, many crossed out X's and daggers and knives placed into the map, through the map into the wooden table below. They stiffen up and straighten up as Soonlar approaches. Duh. Sunla, yeah, we weren't aware that you'd be showing up, so we didn't hear word of your arrival. What brings you to this part of the front? Just bringing some curious individuals on by, and figured while I was here, is there anything particularly interesting going on? He looks down and, oh, now that you mentioned it, it does. Well, odd that you mention it because there is what we suspect to be the beginnings of a Nexus Rift opening not too far from the front. We were about to make the call in to Zeta Group, but now that you're here, he looks up almost like hopeful. You can see this sort of almost reverence in the eyes as if he's looking on a superhero, a savior, someone more than your average individual. Where is it? Sunlar says, walking around the table and looking down. And as they're going over this and you all are standing by, someone comes up and reports in. Sir, the trenches, they're getting to capacity. They're starting to come over the other side. They're being held back for now, but understood. Let's go ahead and give the order. Start the purge, and then he goes back as if just a casual, everyday order. He nods, the messenger nods and rushes back. You hear the sound of squelching and metal on piercing into flesh as those holding the front line near all of the siege weaponry are stabbing, piercing down, and coming head to head with demons that have more or less completely their corpses completely filled the trench that staves off the Bloodlands, and they're using the fallen corpses of other demons to climb the other side towards the wardens. What are you guys doing?
I at least am running one of my triggers.
I'm
Right
going
now,
to
you
look
guys are
around
maybe about
for a way
100
to
feet
see.
from the front line.
I want to look around for a way to see whatever it is he's talking about. If there's a place, and if there isn't, then I would like to fly up a bit so I could see.
Okay. Persephone lifts into the air, and you can see what he's talking about from your vantage point, Persephone. You can see the various demons crawling out from the trench and crashing into the front line of wardens. You can see the trench as far as you can see in either direction, filled with the thousands upon thousands of bodies of the demons that have been slain and now are used like a method of climbing for the others to try to get to the other side of the line. You caution another glimpse out further into the Bloodlands, and you can periodically see the remnants of the former lines. These large, magically excavated trenches that cut through the land. You can see them periodically all the way back to the horizon. Dozens of times that the Asmodeus line had pushed back to where it is now. You can see remnants of old tents, old bastions that had been set up, broken, abandoned siege weapons. It makes you wonder how long this one will last. Anybody else? Right now, Soonlar and the officer in the tent are simply discussing this potential threat. About 100 feet away from you is where the front line is, with the wardens, with the and with the demons currently spilling. You can see a number of people rushing towards the front line from their position as horns are sounded. Persephone, from your perspective, you can see a number of sealed barrels being rolled out and then raised upright. And as the horn blasts echo out from you, or where your area is, propagating outward in either direction, you can see the same, or at least a similar scene being carried out all the way down the lines. These barrels being rolled out and individuals approaching them, opening them up, and grabbing some what looks like silvered sparkling water from their contents.
Francesca's hands like kind of itching for her weapon as she like looks
Mhm.
between the people talking and like the rest of the party and just like the front lines as things are kind of trying to break through, and she knows that that's where she's most needed, but she doesn't know if that's where she's most wanted at the moment.
Um, I would turn to Soonlar and say, "What can we do to help?"
Looks up at you. Well, I mean, I guess if you want to go and take some shots or swipes at a couple demons, you certainly wouldn't be a bad thing, but I think they've dealt with this before. But absolutely feel free to get your hands a little dirty.
Wait, what about the Nexus? Is that not why?
Give us some time. I'm figuring that out. Tackling a Nexus Rift is, well, we can't do that, but preventing one from opening, closing a rift that might become one, it takes a bit of planning. We're not exactly just trying to throw our lives away, Frederic. It's dangerous enough out there as is. Let's not give the fiend some help, huh? He looks back. So what exactly is the position of this rift, and what makes you think that it has the potential to become a Nexus Rift? And then they continue their conversation.
It's gonna take out her
Francesca,
whip and
yeah, Francesca's gonna narrow her eyes at Soonlar and she's just gonna look to Bishop. What do you think we should do?
Well, do exactly what he said. Get out there and do a little fighting. I just walk out and start heading towards the.
All right. You head towards the line. You can hear the scuffle, the sound of orders or stuff being shouted. Just, let's go hold the line. They shouldn't need much longer. The shields up, spears. Don't be foolish. We've done this before. Stand your ground, men. You can hear the sound of gnashing teeth and the hissing roar. The demons as they snarl and claw out against the line as they're being held back and shoved back into the trench that the front line is stationed against. Protect the siege weapons. Don't let them get to the trebuchet. As you get closer, you can see the trebuchets and catapults and the like are being continuously loaded and manned by individuals just lobbing heavy boulders wantonly into the Bloodlands. And it's fair enough that it's more likely to hit something than not. with as congested and filled with fiends the land beyond the trench is. Bishop, Frederica, Francesca, you all are headed out. Suggestion, Melody, Ezekiel, Persephone. You're flying up
I
right
would.
now.
Okay.
Hmm?
I was going to go after those three,
Okay.
if possible.
And I'll follow alongside behind Ezekiel.
All right.
Given
So,
the okay,
hmm?
I would go as well.
All right. So, as you're approaching the front lines, you can see uh, the line, the wall of shield wielders holding back at a distance, dug in and trying to shove the oncoming horde back as pikemen and archers from behind and above rain arrows down and launch their spears into the fiends. There are lines of wardens behind as well, ready to take the places of any who might fall or need relief if they do. Francesca, Frederica, anybody else who's trying to actually get right up to the front.
If I could, I guess, scan the area to see what, like, who, what area is on the verge of collapsing or falling apart to kind of reinforce it, I guess, whether it's around, like, it's either people or, what was it, the siege weapons?
Yep, go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay. Crazy. 8.
Not. It's a bit chaotic, but it does seem like things are generally under control. At times, one or two might like slip through, but they're quickly cut down by the rank and file that are behind the front shield wall. You see an individual get cut down. Sharp, jagged claws of a fiend driving through the throat of, looks like a warden. At least from your perspective, obviously. They're standing in their way. And you see them fall, and then two more take their place of the one that fell to hold the fiends back.
That's as good as any, some help is better than no help, man. I'm gonna lunge forward and kill some motherfucking demons.
All right, you rush forward, and standing in the line, like, you'd have to break through the line to get to the point where you could fight demons. So you go to that point where you had judged it to be weakest, and you head forward. But right now, you're staring at the backs of other wardens.
I will follow her and very dramatically whip my whip out, and I will also cast Crusader's Mantle, so everyone gets a little holy damage bonus.
All right.
Ooh.
So as you approach, instantly, it seems like half step at a time, the demons are growing in number and pushing back the line. But as you approach, Francesca, the mundane weaponry, the swords, the spears of the others that are currently holding the line, the other getting this faint divine glow in their weapons strike with additional radiance as they instead take step after step forward, now regaining the ground that had once been lost.
Would it be
You
possible to try to look for anybody that I could, patch up, if they weren't too severely injured?
okay? Would you like to go down to the same person that Frederica had seen?
Oh, sure. Whatever. I mean, that's what I would be looking for because,
Okay.
you know.
Well, you had see your sister and Francesca heading in that direction as well, and you could see that individual having fallen. And Persephone, you fly down to this fallen individual who had their throat pierced through by the demonic claws, and you go to patch them up, but as you do, they begin to writhe and they sit up, and you notice that their entire head and face are wrapped with bandages.
Oh,
And with this piercing, like claw wound gouging through their throat almost entirely, they stand back up to their feet and rejoin the ranks, wordlessly, soundlessly.
Persephone doesn't know what to do about that exactly. She just sort of stood there with her mouth open, trying to process what just happened, and
Frederica, Francesca, could you make attack rolls, please?
Sure. I got a 24 to hit.
Go ahead and roll some damages. Persephone, if you want to make your way down the line, just one roll of your healer feat, and I'll apply that to everybody once every 6 seconds as you're making your however many charges you want to use.
May I I'm not sure if I'm still able to, but I guess because you mentioned that in front, like once that person went down, someone else kind of took their place, and there's people in front of me.
Yes, two
All right,
more
well,
two took his place.
I mean, it's could I rage from that? A bit like frustrated because like I want to smash demons. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Demons, hell yeah. Okay.
absolutely. As you make your way through, you kind of like in your frustration, rage, whatever need to kill demons, you push yourself through the front line that is standing there, and you notice that the two that took the individual's place that had been fallen, just sort of out of the corner of your eye, holding your maul tight, you see that their faces are also wrapped with cloth and bandage, completely like a mummy.
Um, hearing Fred rage, I'd rush over to where she's at with Francesca to make sure I could back them up.
What's that 8
Don't,
mean?
for- don't forget your
That
radiant
was
damage,
mid.
folks.
Oh
Radiant
shit!
damage.
Radiant damn, that's fucking terrible.
This is what I had to
That's
consider for the
awful.
community.
Bolt of light shoots from my chest, so pew pew.
Pew pew!
Hell yeah, blind everybody out of my way.
Out of my
God, I'm
way!
trying to kill them.
Just a
But
blast
I
of
eventually
radiance
hit.
from your chest right in the face of a demon. Smash the mall missed, but that's fine.
Ever 4.
Oh my god.
She's just too angry.
You're just too angry. Just all right.
I missed the first one. Can I go for a second one? Just curious.
Yeah, sure. You have extra attack.
Oh
Go for it.
yeah.
Oh, I have extra attack too. Does an 11 hit?
Do it. Does what?
11.
11. Yeah, sure, whatever.
13.
It's hard not to hit. There's like
There's so
they're
many
all
zombies.
there's
It's
so many.
crazy.
No,
The
not
sea.
not zombies.
Sorry,
Demons.
The sea
Sorry,
of
the
demons.
zombies are on
Yeah.
our side. I
That
forgot.
zombies are you. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's another 9 slashing and 3 radiant damage
All
to
right.
a miscellaneous creature.
Radiant
have
is
that.
what? D4?
1d4.
1d4 every attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have, which is crazy with a bunch of NPCs.
That's what I was thinking. I was
Love
like,
it.
it's every friendly creature in 30 feet. So I
Yes.
was like, this is awesome. If I'm ever gonna
Persephone,
do
what's
it,
the
that'll be
healing
that.
as you make your way down the line? And as you make your way down the line?
Oh, you wanted to know how many charges I was using?
Yeah, and the number as I'm also rolling for the fiends and the line and all of that stuff right now.
I just, about 20 or so, because I
Oh,
filled
geez.
up
Okay.
all
Anytime that it's
left,
needed.
and it was
'Cause
like,
that's 2 full minutes worth of charges. I'm not sure if I hit that far.
Mercy from Overwatch looks different.
Hmm.
Just
oh,
patching up and
it was a 4 that I rolled on the dice.
okay. So it's that plus, isn't it plus
Their
your
level
plus
and
their level
oh,
plus your proficiency, right? I think. Is it your proficiency? Or is it wisdom? It's 2 additional numbers. It's 4 plus
plus 4. Yeah, so it's 8 plus
8
their
plus their
level.
level.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So as you go through, you can see the errant claw or fang of one of these demons getting through, extending past the shields and gashing open wounds in the shoulders. Some of them worse than others, but you're there anytime that a demon gets through or a couple demons get through, a hole in the line breaks up, and then the demons themselves are swarmed upon by the wardens, and the holes are plugged up. It leaves wardens with injuries, with wounds, some of them worse than others, and you tend to the worst first and begin to patch them up as they are then dragged off further behind the line to recuperate a bit. Ezekiel, as you're rushing up and you're seeing all of this as you're a bit behind Francesca and you overhear shouting. What are you doing? Why would you? Who was it? Who is responsible for this? We don't have enough holy water. Go to the nearest one and. No. He's looking at an empty barrel, basically. This looking cleric, paladin, someone looking elvish man. In a little bit of a panic. The one who had rolled out the barrel begins to scamper and scurry away, rushing toward one of these other barrels that had there hundreds of feet away.
Does anybody have water? I have silver. I mean, if we powdered, if Ezekiel, can you? I mean, is this how long does it take?
Is Austin here?
I
Is
don't know.
we're all together, right? I think we're all there together.
Told you he'd just fall asleep. Told you Ezekiel would need. Called it.
No, I lost my phone. I'm sorry.
Lost your phone. Lost it.
Lost his phone.
Lost your phone.
Um,
Beneath your pillow.
No, not beneath my thumb.
Um,
Did you hear all of that or no?
Could you repeat it?
Yeah. So you're rushing up. You're a bit behind Frederica, Francesca, and those at the front line as you head forward. You hear one of the seem like clerics or paladins near one of these barrels of what you've learned should have been filled with holy water is exclaiming that there's not enough and needs some, and they're shouting out to whoever rolled it out to go get some from. See if one of the others near us have extra. We need that water now. Go. And as you're
Um,
rushing up, you recognize this elvish cleric as familiar. You haven't seen him in a few years, but you recognize the face. It's dirtied, it's a bit bloodied, but you recognize the face, and you certainly recognize the pendant, the holy symbol around his neck.
oh, um, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look at him. Uh, this isn't the time for memories or anything. And go for the trying to find holy water for the front.
Okay. I'm not sure if you heard Persephone, but she said that she has powdered silver if anybody has water.
I
If
have
there's anything that could be done about that.
I have plenty of water. 8 gallons I can make in a couple minutes.
In a couple minutes?
Yeah, 2 gallons per minute.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't think you need gallons
Well,
of it, but
yeah.
it's there.
I don't know if there's anything to do.
Um,
Alright.
If we have all of that, then do I have holy water on me?
you can make it.
Seems we have everything to make it, but I don't have ceremony, so I personally can't make it.
Yeah. It's alright. As Persephone's on the front line, as is Bishop shooting out. Ezekiel, could you make a dexterity check for me?
Okay.
As you hear this, and from your time begging for oil, begging for mayonnaise, you know exactly where to go to find. And maybe you don't have the, but perhaps this individual that needs it would. So you rush towards where Bishop and Persephone are to gather the necessary ingredients as they are currently engaged on the front lines here.
No, that was a nat one, so
Oh
I don't know
no!
how I'm rushing over there.
Oh no! You're
Oh
tripping over there,
no.
is what you're doing. Fall face first, crawling. Oh no!
No.
It's gonna take you a while. You kind of rushing to, excuse me, pardon me, try to get through the people that are like, okay. Try to squeeze through the soldiers and the other wardens.
That was not the time for politeness.
Well, tell that to Ezekiel.
Well, yeah, I know.
Kind of, you're not being polite exactly, but you are getting kind of tangled up in the lines as you're trying to make your way towards Bishop. Occasionally, as you get there, you're not the tallest. You lose sight of him at times, especially among the constantly shifting chaos here.
Yeah,
It's going to take you a while. A while.
not the while.
A while.
Well,
Well,
Are there any other like empty barrels near, like me and Persephone, since we got the materials?
I would say that you are actually the two of you where you are wouldn't have been have the presence of mind, or maybe not even have heard this issue with the holy water.
Okay.
So if anything, it would be up to, if you guys were to be aware of it, it would be on Ezekiel to relay that information to you both.
Oh,
In
well.
this case, because I'm assuming front lines, probably loud as it's
Mm-hmm.
hectic and everything. I'm not gonna be able to shout over it, so I will cast the sending spell to. I'm gonna do it to Persephone.
Okay.
Um, Let me go ahead, press the funny button. Persephone, we need holy water over here. Um, Ask Bishop for water and I'm sorry, excuse me.
Wave your arms
I
so I can see where you are, and I'll let him know.
Okay.
Persephone, make a
Ezekiel going
perception
to
check.
he'll put his arms up, but he's not the tallest.
Yeah, he's not the tallest, and now you're kind of like wading your way back towards where the holy water is actually needed. So it's like, dang it, I just ran into this for nothing.
Oh, it was a 16.
Okay. You see Ezekiel with his arms up, kind of making his way out of the front lines, stumbling a bit, getting shoved around a bit as others file past him. You follow the path that he's taking towards where you can see this robed cleric with near an empty barrel looking around frantically, impatiently, almost like this is running out of time. So as you're able to fly up a bit, so you have the powdered silver.
So I'll just quickly, Bishop, Ezekiel needs us this way, and I'm going to fly towards it to guide him in the direction. We need water, though. Can you do that as we move? Because it seems important. Holy water. I mean, I know you can't make gold. I have the, the powdery metal anyway.
Don't worry, I got it. Let's go.
All right. With Persephone and Bishop now moving over, like to make it through, like kind of clasping the hand to forearm. Persephone, you're able to glide Bishop just over the heads of the other wardens and to kick it through the air as you fly towards where eventually Ezekiel comes stumbling out through the front lines where this other elvish cleric stands. You rush up towards him.
Stephanie grabs the powdered metal out of her bag and it's like, here, I've got this. It's silver and iron and whatever. I don't know what you need exactly of it, but it's here. And have you got water?
And Bishop just immediately takes out his alchemy jug, starts preparing it to pour out water, and point me in the direction of where I need to pour this thing. We need water, right?
Yes, any container will do. Here. And he takes out the vial that he was intending to use for whatever he needed the holy water for, and presents it.
Alright, I start to fill it up. Should be pretty quick,
All right, pretty quick. Yep, just a vial, and then he takes it, splashing a bit of the water out, and in front of you, Persephone, you produce the silver. He goes and you can see him. On one hand, he has a number of rings, and he focuses on it, touches this gem inlaid in one of the rings to the base of the vial, and this mote of radiance permeates through the vial. And good. Don't know who you are, but thank you. We're ready. Sound the alarm. Raise the signal. I'll start it here. And a nearby person with a horn again gives another couple of bursts. You hear them echoed again on the way down. You can hear people shouting near the front lines, Frederica, Francesca, to get back, to pull back, and you can see the slow retreat of the shield wall at the front line as they begin to make room between themselves and the trench in front of them. You're going to want to get back! Come on! As you are out in front of the line now.
I do that.
Yeah, same.
All right.
Uh-huh.
As you rush by, like the demons nipping at. What's up? Did someone else say something? I don't know if Suggestion or Melody.
I don't know.
Just
Like, he'll help
Mhm.
at distance. Not like investing anything, probably more than Eldritch Blast.
Sure. Go ahead and make attack roll just to see how well this time that you're spending Eldritch Blast is doing. Just general, just make an attack roll. If you want to, you can as well, Melody. True strike bow shots.
Yeah, you took the words straight from my mouth.
Good.
All right, you know how to do it, or is it that
I
it's
think
not the same with Dice Cloud since it's not updated for 2024? I don't.
I had to
Uh,
Frankenstein it, but I did it.
I mean, it would just be like a spell attack roll, basically, right?
It's
Not real.
weird.
No, not exactly. Yeah,
It's
kinda, because it's the bow too.
yeah, it's an attack roll made with your spellcasting modifier, so it's more like a warlock.
It's just a hex. Yeah, a hexblade
Yeah.
warlock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Jeez, that's a lot of. Yeah, that'll hit anytime. You're standing back. You and Melody getting to the front. You can see those that even as the front line is engaging the demons here, the trebuchets and catapults are still being cranked. The catapults being cranked and launching stones further beyond, and the trebuchets you can see seem to be a little bit more effective, especially in their distance and in the interesting way that they're being used. You can see instead of being cranked by hand like the catapults to give tension and torque to the lever mechanism that springs and like launches the boulders, the counterweight that's used in the trebuchet is lifted with the use of it looks like wands of telekinesis used to raise the counterweight and then launch the heavy projectiles. Individuals stationed near these groups of siege weapons with spy glasses looking out and directing the operators of the siege weapons where to aim, how to adjust. Melody and Suggestion, Eldritch Blast and arrows shooting from above where other archers and casters are perched up to get a vantage point above the heads of the line to get clear lines of sight and shot onto the demons below. You join them and join in the barrage. Now as the horn bellows out, as Francesca and Frederica, the two of you make your way behind the lines, one the demons nipping at your heels. The line crashes closed behind you with the shields as they barricade once more. Ezekiel, Persephone, and Bishop, you're around this elvish cleric as he takes the now holy water. And approaches the trench. You hear him beginning to chant as magic begins to weave itself between his fingertips. Those of you that speak Elvish can understand. Those of you that can't probably can still understand the tongue as he speaks. Laetheriel and Vanya, Arcente Helm Elenya Agnar, and the sky above the trench opens up as pillars of radiant flame crash down into the trench, searing, scorching, burning the demons that had flooded it. Consecutive pillars of this flame strikes down and fills the entire area of the trench with this divine light that singes and sears away the bloody mist, the stench from the area. As if a signal for the others to do, you see at regular intervals to either side more of these flame strikes coming down to purge and disintegrate, to annihilate all of the demons that had flooded in and made their way into that trench, until it's this wall of light and flame in front of you that persists for a few brilliant moments before dissipating. And everybody collectively takes a bit of a breath. The straggling demons that had climbed out from the other side of the trench are dispatched of, their bodies kicked, shoved back into the trench, as more from the other side begin to flood in. And the cycle continues. It's a matter of time, again, before these trenches fill in with the bodies, the corpses of demons, and this purging needs to happen once more. You get the sense that this is a regular thing that they need to do to hold the line.
At this point, I'd seeing what I just saw with what was done with just a vial of holy water, basically. It looks like to me. Um, I would I would ask, where do I that there's plenty more where that came from, and I could keep keep the supply going, so that to make sure that they're ready for the next time they gotta use it, and try to make myself available for that.
Should have a fair amount of hours before it's needed again. But I thank you.
Did,
You came
did
in.
you say Agnar when you were. Because Ezekiel
I
is.
did.
Uh,
Yeah, I
I.
thought I heard that
Yes.
too.
And Helm and.
I did, yes. He kind of holds his pendant and Ezekiel, who? Ezekiel.
I'm gonna walk
Ezekiel.
up to him.
That's no. You. As, what are you doing out here? Last I saw you, you were not just tied to a field mouse.
Would
You
I?
recognize
I'm.
this
I'm.
man as Verion, a man that a one of the full elven denizens of Watcher's Village. You know that he was one of the more recent ones before he set out. Maybe a few years before you set out, he had set out on his own journey.
Perion, it's good to see you.
Indeed. But, I mean, you look healthy. I must say, I wasn't, when did you head out? When did you start? You must, you that grown up already?
Well,
Oh, I don't.
somewhat.
You gotta
I
say.
set out about 2 years back. I think
Aye.
around.
Well, then I suppose it only makes sense that you ended up here then. It's about the time that all of this shite started. Give my language.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, with a place like this, I don't think language is much of a.
That is true, but who knows? You don't want to lose all of yourself, but yeah, that's certainly true.
Right. This. You said this is like a couple hours. You're gonna have to do this again.
I can only manage, well, a couple times myself, but we cycle through. Yes, once the demons start coming out the other on this side, we have to, unless we drive them back. Purge. Keeping the trenches empty, keeping the barrier, the divide between us and them, giving us a couple hours of rest in between. But we have more than enough people of faith to keep up a rotation, at this point anyway. Fortunately, I was a fool and let my supply of water get low there. That's almost fatal mistake. If you didn't show up, don't know where we'd be.
Well, that wasn't really on my part. That was more on. These are my party members. We're part of Kieran group. This is
Sensing the
Persephone and Bishop.
religious vibes, I'm gonna just push myself to the back from behind everybody.
Alright.
We don't bite.
Yeah. So you said you've been doing this for a couple of years now? That's not too much. That's... Well, I mean, you still talking about being a warden, or your journey?
The journey, being a warden's probably closer to the year mark, to be honest. This is all extremely new to me, especially this area.
You don't get used to it, but then again, you don't exactly want to. If you get used to it, well, those that have gotten used to it are, you can tell are the ones that are lost, and that's the second part of why we're out here, not just to burn away the demons, but to protect the souls and the minds of those that are out here.
Right. Absolutely. I won't lie, coming here I faltered a bit. This is a lot.
Certainly. Well, again, thank you, the two of you, for covering for my folly. I appreciate that. I'm going to go and rectify the situation now. I think refill this barrel as it should be. If you don't mind joining me, Ezekiel, if you've not anything else to do. I'd appreciate the company and hearing a bit about home, I guess. I know you've been away for a while, but I've not been there for about 5 years at this point. It's not that long, but it's still, wonder if anything's changed.
Right. I'm going to kind of look for a sign of approval from Persephone and Bishop.
Stephanie kind of shoos him away from her, like, go on.
Ezekiel's gonna give a smile and a nod.
All right. So in that moment, you kind of remember that, the full elves of your village definitely time differently than you do. 5 years, not that long. What does anything changed?
Yeah.
But you you accompany Varian as you and him collectively carry that empty wooden barrel away, and of refilling it, you Here, you learn that those rings that he wears are rings that can magically store certain spells, and as thankfully I had the bit of foresight to fill in some of the magics needed to use holy water into these trinkets here. Otherwise, well, I'm sure you know it's not exactly the quickest process.
No, it takes minutes you don't have when
Oh,
you're having to deal with um that.
absolutely. And the two of you get to work on procuring more holy water. Hmm?
I think just like general strokes, uh, I would tell him bits about the village. I would also probably like a little kid to their older cousin, just like show him my shield, my amulet, just like all my little gadgets and gizmos, my doodads.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He is appropriately interested, and he's definitely glad to have a familiar face from maybe a life not too, at least in his mind, and not too far in the past, but certainly a lot has happened with him, with the world since he. So you can see that compared to the man he was when dealing with the fiends, when preparing to cast the flame strike, he's able to relax a bit and enjoy the company, kind of not be in the Bloodlands for a moment. About 15, 20 minutes after the purge of the trench happened, Sunlar finds the bulk of you. So, did you all have your fun? There's a bit of a twinkle in his eye.
Ain't exactly what I'd call fun, but we were able to help contribute some, which is good.
That's good. Hopefully, you're not all contributed out, as we've got a rift that needs closing. If you're interested in crossing over, he says, kind of gazing out beyond the front line, across the trench and into the Bloodlands.
Um, I personally look back at everybody for a moment and then look back at I'm ready to see this through.
Good.
No objections from my end either. I mean, I feel we'd be more useful out there anyways than at the line. Hoping not to get singed.
Am I still with
He.
Varion?
What? Yes, you are.
Okay, okay, good. Just making sure.
He comes between the two of you, kind of guiding you in a direction so that you could see just over the shoulder wardens that make up the front line beyond the trench into the Bloodlands, maybe about 500 feet or so beyond the trench, he points out. You see that cluster that's right there? That one in the center. That's the one that we're concerned might become a Nexus Rift. That's where we're going. You can see around it, above it, constant swarm of fiends, demons flowing from the rifts, engaging in bloody battle against themselves. Demons fighting demons. Just a never-ending swarm. Some of them rushing off, some of them engaging, crashing into lines of further hundreds of feet away, some scattering about and eventually spotting the line of wardens and rushing fiercely towards them and eventually falling to warden spells or arrows, crashing into the trench and getting cut down there, beginning the process of filling it with abyssal bodies once more. Well, no time like the present. Let's be on our way. Actually, there's someone I need to gather for this. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Meet me right here. About 5 minutes. I'll be right back. And Sunlar heads off.
Shall I try to see if I can find where Ezekiel went off to?
Sure. It's not too hard to track him down. There's no real close-off place. At least where they are right now is near with Vayne. About a couple minutes later.
Right. Well, I wanted to bother them for perhaps, hey Ezekiel, do you think, I could talk to your relative?
Um, of course, I don't mean to hog him.
Oh, I mean, I know your time is limited. We're supposed to go meet,
Oh, hello, Persephone. What brings you here?
oh,
Looks like we're both looking for the same Vayne.
I was hoping
Gonna need to have Ezekiel. Sorry. Gonna need to have Ezekiel and, well, Persephone. I don't know if you needed to borrow her. And you as well. Funny. Do you two know each other?
Uh,
Regardless, about 3 minutes where your friends are. And he heads off to find someone else, not waiting for anyone else to speak.
holy water.
and he's gone.
I need holy water, please. If you have any to spare.
Unfortunately, we're in the process of. I guess I could make some immediately. It
Oh,
would take another, but we're in the process of making some, and that we're
well,
not
I don't.
quite even. We're not even halfway through yet. The process takes about an hour, which I'm going to have to cut short, apparently, for whatever it is that Sunla needs me for.
A rift, Nexus rift. But if you just have the silver iron, I don't know how you create it. If it's just purely without
Oh,
any materials. I
yes,
could use
I
those.
do. Yes, I could. I certainly could repay you for that. Yes.
It's not
And he
that I
goes.
want anything. I just want to be prepared to use it if I need to.
I understand. Yes. Here you go. I'm not sure if you need more than that you gave me. I'm not sure if.
I mean, if you have
I
a little more to spare, I wouldn't mind being able to use it
don't. I'm not
twice.
sure if
But
anything would. Don't really have much to spare around here.
that's fine then. This is great. Thank you. Very much
Excellent.
appreciated.
Well, since I'll be coming with you, it seems maybe if you need more, well, yeah, take another that amount, and if you end up not using it, just give it back to me whenever we're done with this, whatever this is. You said it's off to close the
Oh,
rift.
of
That makes sense.
course. Totally.
All right.
Yes.
So you have, I guess, 50 gold worth of silver dust now.
Wow.
All right. So, anybody else? You guys have about 3 minutes.
Ah.
I'm stretching.
We
Stretching,
gotta go head over there.
Francis
hydrating,
is staring
eating.
out at the place where the holy damage was being done, and her hands are shaking a little bit. She doesn't want to go over there.
I want you. You're scary.
I'll talk
Your
to
turn.
suggestion if he, I'll talk to suggestion.
Okay.
You could find me trying to clean the fucking blood off my goddamn clothes with prestidigitation.
Constantly.
Constantly, yeah. I would do the same thing too if I had that cantrip. Trust. um. Looks like we're gonna
The
get
Queen,
the.
the soldier.
Huh? What were you saying?
Oh no, go ahead.
Looks like we're gonna get that bigger fish that you were hoping for. At least you mentioned it a while back. You've been pretty quiet
Caught,
since then.
caught that, did you? Yes, I don't believe we are needed here on the front lines. They have something going for them, and honestly, it feels like a bit of a waste of our potential. But, good job and all that.
Well, every little bit helps. I mean, they're the backbone of this whole thing. If that falls apart, then everything falls apart.
Fair, though they do have the very capable Sunla here.
Yeah, but seems like the very capable Sunlan's gonna go with us 500 feet past this line, or so. Need to make sure that
And they will likely have to deal with less of these once we've taken care of that.
I would hope so.
We are all doing our job. The machine is, the cogs in this machine are turning quite well.
Yeah, for the most part, that seems like it. So why are you so eager to take all this on, which with what seems like on a dime? I mean,
Look, Bishop, I'll be frank with you. I'm not lying everything that I've said. I know it may come off as I'm suspicious. The mask and all of the mannerisms and all of that, but it's just my nature. I am here to defeat the fiends just as much as I believe all of you are.
hmm,
I'm looking for one in particular, if you must know specifications.
hmm, I see.
I won't find it among all this rabble, fortunately.
All right, I get it. So you got maybe revenge that you're looking forward to, or when I can get that. We've all lost something because of the Bloodlands.
Yeah, so you could say that again. Though, not so much the Bloodlands directly, I suppose. Circumstances given, of course. I guess, by proxy, a result of the Bloodland.
Yeah, exactly. That like I said, I'm no stranger to loss, as I told you earlier. Um,
Well, you do look far better than that gentleman before, and I mean, the whole group is alive. It's good to wear a smile in these occasions. It makes you look better, more confident, ready to receive and dish out whatever necessary to get the job done.
mm, yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess agree to disagree. I ain't really feel like smiling for what's going on, but I can get behind the whole confident to get the job done and all that.
Different
Um,
methods, same goal.
exactly. just we're trusting you, so just make sure you keep your head on straight and you don't go wild if you find that fiend that you're looking for in particular. You know, lead on us a bit, I guess. Can I count on you to do that?
Mhm. Don't worry. I've the most composure. I won't lose.
Oh,
That's it.
you're cutting out for me. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's me lagging or you lagging.
No, I also hear him coming.
Yeah, I did not hear anything clearly.
No, it's probably.
Okay.
You don't need. You don't need to worry
Mm-mm.
about me.
Yeah, it's the same but louder.
I no, even still think the same cutting out but louder.
Yeah, like there was just more bass in your voice, but still cutting out.
Yeah, you moved closer to the mic, but it was still going. Mm.
Usually it's the gate on this mic,
Oh,
Seems fine
but
now.
I think
Ish.
yeah, I think it fixed,
Yeah.
right?
whatever. Okay, I need.
Well, I'll be damned.
God damn it. God damn it. It just knows when you're trying to do it.
I believe I have shown that I keep myself with the utmost composure in all situations. I can't have an apparently
You can't.
doesn't
Nope.
feel like so like the second I turn on the act, like I talk like normal and you could hear me, right?
Kind of,
I
yeah.
need to run
Kind of.
real quick,
If you
which
talk
is
about
just my
anything
regular fucking
not
voice.
scene related, we can hear you until you start talking in scene relation. Then we're like,
Yeah, exactly.
the important stuff
In
gets
scene
cut out.
relation.
So I'm just going to
I
read my
keep myself-
lines like this.
I'm composed. Yes, yes. I compose
I am
myself in all
composed.
situations as much as humanly possible. On me.
All right, we got teleprompter suggestion now.
Absolutely.
I have composed myself as much as possible in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You need not worry about me.
This is a whole this
What's
is a
this one
PR
saying?
this is a PR stunt from like a
Yeah, right.
government official or something.
Yeah, that's you got me. You got my backstory.
Oh,
I
man.
work for the fucking government.
My fellow Keans,
I was sent by.
I stand here before you
I
today,
was sent by the government officials. Of
humble, honorable,
Okay.
and dedicated to the well-being, to the fortune, and to the spirit of our nation.
That's me, man. You guys got me. Fuck, it's out of the bag. But no, really, you don't have to worry about me.
Not for real though.
Take 4.
For real, on the real,
I'm good.
on the
I'm good.
on the real, Bishop.
On helm, like
On him.
If I could keep it real with you, real quick.
Say it as suggestion.
That
Say it as suggestion.
on that strange god that Ezekiel worships. No worries.
It came through clear because Helm deemed it so.
Yes,
You
I
invoked
merely
me.
need to speak in Helm's name.
Absolutely.
wow, it really is so clear
Praise
now.
be.
It's crazy.
Praise
That's that is in fact
Walk in
wild.
Helm's light. Walk in Helm's
All
light,
in yes.
and everything will become clear.
be.
Yes,
All who walk in Helm's
indubitably.
light have their mic protected.
Their mic's clear.
Yeah.
Clear and of the utmost quality, surely.
Yes.
Yeah, so
You guys letting the Bloodlands get to you? I don't know. Understand a word you're talking about.
I'm just gonna respond with
Uh,
good.
Good.
Yeah.
Just a thumbs up emoji.
Yeah, good.
right.
Sweet.
No, it says as you said before, you must acclimate and
Oh no. Fuck.
Oh no.
Fuck.
Oh no.
He
He didn't
stopped
No, no,
invoke
no.
Helm's name.
He stopped
No.
believing.
I do need a new mic.
Oh.
Damn.
Just buy a cheap
Under
one
one
for
pound.
$20. It'll work for like 2 weeks, but it'll be good.
So, as promised, about 5 minutes later, soon Lar approaches the spot where he had told you all to wait. Ezekiel, Persephone, the cleric from Ezekiel's village, Vayne, and another man alongside Soon Lar. One clad in a long coat, almost like a robe-like coat, over simple tunic and pants. You can see him older, maybe middle-aged, maybe a bit further on than that. Hair beginning to thin and bald, mostly gray at this point. Serious, deep lines in the face and below the eyes. But a stern, strong jaw and though deep sunken eyes, they seem steadfast. All right. Well, I want to make sure that everything is absolutely understood before we even take another step further. We're going out to close the rift. And I see in some of your faces that you think you understand what that means. Closing a rift in the Bloodlands is nothing like anything that you've ever before. As I told you before, this is a land of hours, minutes, and seconds, and this is absolutely a task of seconds. The rift that we're looking at is a little bit from this point. About 600 or 700 feet away. We need to get within 500. Once we are within 500, Duen here is going to open up a gate. One that will place us in close enough proximity to the rift. Vayne is going to provide cover from this side. He's going to protect the gate on this side as well. Offer assistance in clearing out the immediate proximity of the gate that will open near the rift. We will go through. I will head towards the rift. I will close it, and we will come back and make our way back. It's all a matter of just staving off the fiends long enough to get the rift closed. Nothing more. You're not going to change the outcome of this by slaying an additional fiend or two, so don't get ahead of yourselves. I can see it in some of your eyes and in some of the ways that you speak that you might believe that simply smashing a fiend or dealing with them one at a time is something noble, something worthwhile, and I'm here to tell you it's not. The only thing that thinking has ever gotten anyone is a premature death. That being said, as much as I wish that I could prepare yourself or even me, this is the Bloodlands. This is chaos. And we don't know at any given time what might happen. All said and done, we should be back here within about half an hour. From the time we walk through that gate to the time we exit through it again, should be no longer than 20 seconds, but it's going to feel like a lot longer. So, I am not proposing this as a challenge to you. I am not telling you one way or another what you must or what you should do. You're not going to much sway my perception of you based on your choice here and now. You've all. Well, you're all standing here, seemingly with wits about. You've not run yet. That's all that I wanted to see when I came to you tonight. If you don't want to come, this is your last chance.
Well, um, I for one am going.
My my answer hasn't changed.
Likewise.
He nods and begins to head towards the line, towards where the siege weapons and the large 40-foot long trench is. He looks out in the direction of where you're going, almost 1,000 feet out. He looks out and points and speaks to Dellen, the elder man. Looks like that one right there seems to be standing just about. Think that could be used as a place to hunker down in for a bit. See that old, looks like there's some old shed right there. That should be the good place. What do you think? That should do. For if we can make it there, should be just fine, yes. And points out to that place. It's no more than 300 feet away, but even so, you can see innumerable, you can see a large amount of demons that are swarming there. They're gnashing, fighting, clawing into each other and anything else comes nearby. Our first objective is to get there. And to do so with, well, as little strain as possible. Um, Anyways, he goes and he talks to one of the individuals that's heading up and the siege weaponry, talks to them, informs them that they'll be hearing from Vayne, the cleric, when they get into position. And when you do hear that, a full minute of heavy bombardment in the area of Drift. Once we get through that minute, I want you to cease all fire, because that's when we'll be going in. Is that understood? Then the other one nods and... Good. All right. If we're ready... He goes and he takes off his outer jacket, and you watch as the man in the long coat takes off his long coat as well, and even Vayne basically strips down to just tunic and trousers.
Um, why are they stripping down? I say to pretty much anyone nearby.
I can't say, but I hope they don't expect the same of me.
Well, that would be a bit hard in your case, no?
You notice that they are walking with intent as if heading towards, but they're walking away from the trench and away from the line. As you
Perhaps it
follow
is bath
them...
time.
Hmm?
Or so perhaps it is bath time. And I'll like look over at Suggestion, who was talking about how to get clean.
Yep, just a quick bath before.
You never
Well,
know. It's everyone has different preparation for battle.
maybe they
You are
shouldn't
quick to find
smell
out
each other.
that it is, in fact, quite the opposite of that.
Oh no.
As you're not going over the trench, you're not even going along the surface to get to this. You find that there are tunnels that have been dug, ways to traverse deeper behind front line to get into the Bloodlands without engaging in the swarm of fiends that litter the surface. And the three of them are knelt in front of this tunnel, barely large enough in diameter to fit and crawl through. Okay, this one, if we take it there, then I believe it should bring us to about that shack that we were talking about. I think that was dug. Finished a few days ago, actually. So it should still be viable. As long as we take this route, we'll avoid the first branch, and the second one is what we want. So just stay close behind. And Vayne and Dellen nod. At this point, you almost feel like, regardless of what the seven of you choose to do, they're doing this anyway, and Sunlar gets onto his belly and begins to crawl arm over arm through into this tunnel. We lost Fred, lost Mags and
We
Dune.
lost
And
them
Dune,
both.
yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like it might be an internet thing because they both disconnected at like
Yeah.
the same
They're
time.
not in Discord
No.
still, right? Or
They
They're
are in the Discord, but
well, I
even
mean, can they
then,
hear us? Like,
di-
I'm
yeah,
asking.
it
Discord,
takes usually a bit to disconnect.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
few minutes. Sometimes longer. A few minutes.
Yeah, they're not
Ooh,
saying things, so I'm assuming they're not actually here.
Yeah.
Oh,
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 what was that?
wait.
Oh,
it's a little
I heard a.
robot.
He's just on his phone right now or something.
It was a little robot creak. He could be alive
Yeah.
still.
It's a little robot freak.
There was a glimpse, just a shimmer of hope.
Invoke Helm's name so we can hear you.
Helm, grant him grace.
Helm, please grant him the voice with which to speak. Nope.
Uh-oh.
He's nope. No.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. He's got the little yellow internet symbol.
You're getting
Hello.
Oh,
Spaghettis?
spaghetti?
Is that what you said?
Uh-oh.
Nope.
No,
Spaghetti.
definitely not. Spaghetti.
Spaghettis.
Spaghetti. Hey. Forget about
What?
it.
This might be the place to just stop. Wait.
Probably. Oh, she's damn side eye.
Anyways. Just, you guys are, if you follow, heading into this World War I style trench or tunnel beneath the Bloodlands. The earth itself dripping, saturated with blood and ichor, making mud out of the dirt. That, as you put pressure on, squeezes the blood itself.
Ew.
Yeah, the soil itself so saturated that by the time you are even partway through, there's no prestidigitation that's saving your clothing suggestion.
Oh man.
Do you know how much
I don't
this
know if they're
fur
back or
coat
not.
costs? That's crazy.
How much in exact even gold amounts does it cost?
A lot.
I I want
All
to
of them being grossed out about their clothes, and I just stare.
Just staring forward.
And you're just like, my skin, though. No. Wow.
So that's it. You guys are crawling through
Uh,
this tunnel that's barely. What's up? Are you back? Can you hear us?
It's not like he was
He really
falling,
said,
he fell down a fucking trench.
yeah.
fucking.
Can we wait and see if he can actually hear us?
I
I
hear the big
assume
enough.
they could hear you.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't-
oh, it's just hard for them to talk to us, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
they hear us.
okay.
They are ghosts from beyond.
Yeah.
Are
I don't know, because
really
sometimes, like, when you're
beyond?
lagging, it other people too, unless he's just
Yeah.
listening to the stream, and that's why it's kind of delayed.
Fred is typing.
Fred is typing.
Buff
Excellent.
Kirby.
That really explained a lot.
That got it.
I think that answered everyone's question.
That answers my question.
Fucking buff Kirby.
You guys cramped into this tunnel that's barely wide enough to fit some of you. Ezekiel, your scrawny ass is probably fine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lit.
Mm-hmm. You can
Yeah.
hear the muffled sounds of the feet, claws, the movement, the constant rumbling and thunderous beats of the numerous limbs of the demons above. You don't know exactly how far beneath the surface you are, but You continue crawling. Eventually, you come up out of the tunnel, one after another, completely coated in blood, surrounded by shoddy walls of a shack that stands defiant. You can hear the buzzing of demonic insects and the leathery wings flapping, and the sound battle cries in infernal and abyssal being shouted from just behind the walls. Sunlar puts a finger to his lips, and you all huddle cramped in this small shack. Peering through the boards, he looks towards where this rift is, about 500 feet away. He looks to Vayne and gives a little bit of a nod and a signal to go ahead. Vayne casts a spell and whispers almost imperceptibly. We're in position. Let loose. And not long after that, you can hear the sound of boulders cutting through the air now and slamming into the ground in the vicinity of the rift that you're going towards. For a constant minute, this area is smashing, squashing any demons that pour out of that rift. Sunlar holds up both of his hands, and counting in his head, he begins to put down fingers one at a time. Vayne and Dellen watch as it goes 5, 4, 3. Dellen glances out towards the area of the rift and begins to cast a spell. A portal opens up, bursting arcane energy in front of you all, and you can see a glimmer of a second portal opening up about 500 feet away. As he casts that, Vayne casts another spell, and the area within the shed itself begins to glow with a faint light as he casts Magic Circle. As the portal opens and the circle is placed down, Sunlar reaches a hand through, and you can see his forearm, at least on this side, begin to channel magical energy, and then a flash of light from the other portal about 500 feet away as this beam of radiant sunlight extends out from the connected portal 500 feet away. You can see him moving his arm inside the shed here, and the beam mimicking movement as he clears out any remaining or surrounding fiends from the area directly outside the portal with this Kamehameha of light. He motions to the rest of you and heads through the portal.
In we go, I guess. I mean, like, in at least
Yep.
I go.
Yeah.
Into the thick
What
of
else
it.
to do but to follow? Into the thick of it.
And
Oh,
Entering through the woods.
You head through
In
the
we
portal
go.
behind Sunlar. Immediately in the area of the Bloodlands, blood, bones of fallen fiends, and even other humanoids surround you. You are completely enveloped within the chaos. The sky above is completely blackened out with the wings and bodies of flying fiends, demons and devils alike, as the two sides clash into each other. In the case of the demons, clashing into themselves as well, as the demons are fighting amongst themselves while they're fighting the devils at the same time. The area immediately around you is filled with the charred remains of the demons, as well as the area littered with a number of large stones and boulders that had been launched by the siege weaponry to clear the way. But even as you had just cleared it out from the smaller rifts that surround the area, more fiends begin to pour and begin in as Sunlar begins to make his way towards a large rift, the potential Nexus rift, maybe about 40 or 50 feet away, a little bit more. He shouts back to you. Don't go too far. Stay close. We're just here to close that. And then, once we're done, back through the gate. That is where we'll pick up next time. What?
I was about to say, well, hell, I'm staying close to him. What?
Yeah, for real. Like, okay, boss.
Alright.
No stragglers.
And that's where we'll pick up next time.
All right. GG.
Bomba.
So, just making sure he can close rifts, right?